And as a child, I was very, very honored to be part of a family that attended church. They were committed to reading the Bible and to bringing me to church when the church doors were open, teaching me songs, and just loving me like other families do. And so being a part of a committed Christian family, I attended church. And it was one summer I attended vacation Bible school. I was 8 years old. And it was there I say that God sent the messenger. It was my angel that presented the greatest story ever told. And it was my pastor at the time. And he talked about, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And I probably heard that as a child, but it wasn't until that day that my ears were open, my eyes could see, but my heart really listened and was open to that message. Because you see, I had attended Sunday school really all my life. I'd heard the Bible stories. Just as Mary would have heard stories, also, the scrolls had been written, the Old Testament, the first 5 books, and prophecy had been given. This also, I had heard, I had learned, I had witnessed. But this particular day, like I said, my ears were open. And I heard the message how Jesus was born and came to this earth to save us from our wrongdoings and thinking, our habits, our hurts, everything that we would go through, and the sins that we would commit. He would hang on a cross and die for us, that we would be reconciled to God our Father, who created us, to have relationship with him. But as a result of sin coming into this earth, you see, we were separated from having relationship with God the Father. And only God the Father would have the solution as to how to reconcile us with him. And that solution was to send Jesus into the world to be born like each and every one of us were born. Born of a mother, conceived, and even saying, I knew you before the earth was formed. We were all born for this season, this time, for a purpose and a reason. So I heard that message, and I knew that I love this Jesus. I had heard of this Jesus, but I never knew that I was a sinner. I didn't know about, I committed things that were wrong against Jesus, against Father God. And because of Jesus dying on the cross, I was like, he took my place. He took all of our place. It says, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. That's me and you, that we might have life now on earth and life eternal forever in heaven with God someday. And the greatest news was that when Jesus died, yes, he died and he stayed in the tomb for 3 days, but after 3 days he rose. And he lives forevermore. That is what's so fascinating, is that he lives. And we too can live because of him residing within us as we ask him to come and be a part of our lives. So that day, as my pastor continued on, he asked a question. And it really struck me, because the question he asked was, if you were to leave here today, do you know if you would go to heaven? He said anything could happen. You could step out that door and be killed. You just never know. Those surprises. We never know when we're going to take our last breath. And as an 8-year-old, I thought about that, and I thought, I really don't know where I would go if I did die today. And I knew I wanted to be in heaven with Jesus someday. So I got up out of the pew and I walked down to the altar of that little church. My mom came and met me. I knelt down and I just simply said a prayer and asked Jesus to forgive me, to cleanse me of my bad attitude, my thoughts, anything that was sin that excluded me from having a relationship with him. And I said, Jesus, come into my life and cleanse me. Wash me clean. Forgive me of my sins. Make me a new creation, that I know now I have life and I will spend forever eternity with you someday in heaven. And I knew that from that day on, I was changed. I was a new creation. Even being a little girl, I knew something had